Hey everybody, it's Luis Rodriguez,
Yahir Vasquez.
and this is the second episode of Talking El Tri, your home for all things Mexican football.
And we're really excited just to get into some of the things that's been happening with the Mexican national team. We're going to get into duo nationals, the World Cup roster, which has been extremely controversial lately. And we'll get into some of the sweet new kits that the Mexico national team dropped. And at the end, we'll get into some interesting questions that we'll be picking out of our little cantarito right here.
Ah, yes. And speaking of Cantarito, you might notice if you're watching via YouTube or some of our clips that the set has a little bit more flair. We even got the guest. We got Mini, Chucky. We've added sticker. We're gonna add it. We're gonna add another sticker here in a bit. We got these beautiful handmade leather Italian boots from Uno Cero.
Very inappropriate name. Gave me flashbacks. When I first heard the name, I thought Dos a Cero immediately.
No. This is Uno Cero.
It's
handmade Italian.
better quality for sure
Absolutely.
than anything that happened that day.
Absolutely.
Also, the mini Chucky is like real, like the size of actual Chucky.
The actual Chucky?
Yeah.
Causes terror, man. Yes.
Now that we're in Halloween season,
Spooky season.
so now we get to do the honor of adding a little bit more into our set. We get to place one of our fun stickers. This time we go with the old school Mexico logo. Should have probably done this before because I have no nails. And we're going to put it right here in the corner so it looks gorgeous.
Absolutely.
Look at that.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, I mean, to me, that's still the Mexican national team badge.
I never realized how dated it looked till I saw the new badge.
Right? Yeah, you see the new badge and you see it in like monotone. You see it in the tricolores. They could do, I think that's probably why they did it, is marketing purposes.
Oh, yeah.
You could do more with it.
If you keep the same badge, you can't promote it as much. I also do have that beautiful badge on my brand new Mexico sweater. So,
okay.
So this is a once, I think there's like one of the modern, like with the old badge left.
Right, yeah.
Yep.
That gear's slowly going to go by the wayside.
Have you seen the iteration of that kit with the old badge, by the way?
No.
There's an artist out there on, I don't know what his name is. Sorry, I forgot. But he did that kit that you're wearing with the old badge. It looks gorgeous.
That old badge will always look beautiful on everything. But what do you think of the new badge?
I think the new badge is dope. I think it gives us a modern, I always feel like a rebrand takes us to the next era. But we'll definitely be getting more into that later on.
Sure.
We'll definitely be getting more into that. But for now, you want to get into some duo nationals?
Oh, my goodness. Let's do it.
Are you afraid of this topic? I got some takes on this, man.
Okay. So the first episode, some of our more hot takes came from Yahir. And I will say, here's the thing. I'm learning Yahir has alter egos. There's Yahir, cleaned up, really reformed. Then there's Yaya. But then when you go scorched earth, you go Yasolina. All
Yup.
gas, no brakes.
All gas, no brakes. I don't stop. And the one person that was in my way last time was Tata Martino. And if he keeps being in my way, man, I'm not going to break. Like, not even close.
What has Tata done to this? Well, I can't
You-
say what has
you-
Tata
you
done to
know what
deserve,
Tata has done.
to deserve that.
Let's just start with the name Funes Mori. That's all we need to know what Tata has done to me as a Mexico fan.
Wow.
That's all we need to start with. Well, that's a duo national, actually.
He is actually a dual national.
He's Argentinian, right?
He's Argentinian, became a citizen. So to me, if you become a citizen, you're Mexican. So
See, I think there's certain exceptions to this, like El Santi Jimenez father, Checo Jimenez. I think he's one of those people that integrated himself into the culture of Mexico, that was very known for love in Mexico. But I haven't gotten the same feeling from Funes Mori. I don't feel like he had that same passion for the Mexican flag as.
yeah, it's hard for me to say, especially when his twin brother has made appearances for the senior Argentinian team. So
Yeah.
it's a little weird for me. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, yeah, the foreign players, they do tend to grow a huge love for Mexico. I mean, I wish Gignac could play for Mexico, but
It's so gorgeous seeing him on that bike, on the bike wearing the Mexico
I think he was
jersey.
on the bike wearing
Yeah,
the away jersey.
and then he also kisses the badge, which is insane to me that he is willing to kiss the badge of an opposite national team.
Well, I mean, he's a Mexican now.
He is fully integrated into that culture, and that's another player that I kind of like Checo. Like it's fine, you know what I mean? He's shown that he has love for
Yeah,
that.
so
He's
Gignac's kids, they
they're
ever want
probably
to put
gonna-
on La Verde or La Negra or the pink
or whatever it's gonna be at that time. Probably be like on a maroon orange or something.
Oh man.
But
Well, yeah, we'll get to that when we get to it.
Yeah.
But I think the dual nationals we really want to talk about are Mexican Americans.
yes, and I see there's so many. One big one I think that people point to recently was Pepe, the all elusive striker.
El
Born-
Tren.
he was born in Paso, Texas. He killed it for FC Dallas.
Yeah.
And he chose to play for the U.S.
Yeah. Having played youth levels, both national teams, but I think actually more appearances for Mexico youth national teams.
And at that point, we have to start questioning: is he wanting to be part of the U.S. because he has more opportunity, or because he believes in the coaching staff more?
Well,
because the national
I mean, you
team,
can't ask for more opportunity than the ones that he got during the qualifiers. I don't think Tata was anywhere near calling him up for the full national team of Mexico.
that's the thing, though. If you look over, that's why I'm asking: is it like an opportunity or coaching? Because if you look at the Mexico roster and you try to look up, you have Raúl Jiménez, you have Funes Mori, which is Tata Martino favorite, and you do have Santi Jiménez, and you also had Carlos Vela.
Santi
and
wasn't even
Chicharito.
in the picture though. At the
No,
time
but as a
Pepe.
youth level player that you kind of see that somebody that can be there for the future, you kind of start seeing the options there. But then you look over at the U.S. and it was a little bit more barren.
It still is.
Well, they got more options. It's younger. They haven't proven
They haven't
themselves
settled
yet.
on anyone.
But it's 3 of their options are dual nationals.
Yeah, a
Pepe?
lot of their team is doing that.
Well, like if you look at it, Pepe, Jesus Ferreira, and Brandon Vasquez, all 3 players.
Wait. Okay. Brandon Vasquez hasn't been called up to either senior team.
He's
I
been
mean, camp. I think camp.
Yeah, camp, but still, Tata Martino said he wasn't even looking at Brandon Vasquez.
Yeah, no. I mean, he was off the radar. I mean, I don't know if it's because Cincinnati's that far off the radar for him or what. But
And it's just really weird to me that Tata kind of refuses to look at the dual nationals and actually recruit them. I feel like old regiments were really like trying to hit that market, trying to hit that, oh, we gotta see who's right there at the border, who can play for us. And I feel like Tata has kind of let that go a little bit by the wayside.
well, yes and no. He called up Julian Alvarez from Galaxy.
Julian Alvarez decided that before he even got called up that he wanted to play for Mexico. So that's the
But
one.
I think that was also a way of him forcing his hand, forcing Tata's hand or whoever from the national team.
I just feel like if you look at the track record and you look back the last, let's say 2 years, I can name maybe 2 dual nationals that have chosen Mexico over the U.S. that are like prominent players. And one of them is Julian Alvarez, and the other one would be Jonathan Gomez.
David Ochoa too.
David Ochoa I think was never in the U.S.'s plans.
He was the goalie for the Olympic qualifying team before the Tokyo Olympics.
He was, but I just think that the U.S. more flood and like has more talent in goalie.
At goalkeeper, yeah. No, they're stacked. They're stacked, but I wouldn't put Mexico that far behind. But Ochoa is always gonna have. I mean, Ochoa is probably gonna play this World Cup and another World Cup.
I don't think he plays one other World Cup. I think this is Ochoa's last World Cup.
He looks honestly as good as the last episode we even talked when Ochoa for the Mundial, Ochoa puts on his Superman cape.
True, but it's also he's 38 right now. I want to say.
Okay, Conejo Perez played pretty old,
and he was bad. Let's say he was bad in 2010. He was not.
Got us out of the group. But with that said, David Ochoa, that's another dual national option. I think DC United is where he ended up this year.
Yeah,
did look great because now he's got options to make some dough in Mexico, probably Chivas or I even hear Barcelona B, who's
Yeah.
coached by Rafa Marquez now.
Yeah, and that's also really interesting because Barcelona has been knocking at Julian Alvarez's door,
Yes,
which is
I
very
thought the
interesting.
transfer was gonna go through right before the end of the transfer window.
The rumor came very last day, and it was like
Yeah.
very hard to see. I saw like a very difficult path to it.
I don't know if Galaxy, held that up or what. Maybe they didn't have a
Yeah,
backup option at right back or what. But it would be great to see Alvarez make the jump. He should. He should. I
yeah,
think. I think he's just kind of plateaued or grown stagnant.
yeah, and I think he needs a little bit more challenge. I think it's more of a board
Absolutely.
thing. I think he's one of those players that need that tougher competition to kind of grow. He's not one of those people that kind of just pushes and pushes. Because if he kind of like just thinks, oh wow, like I can dominate here, I'm just gonna take a step back and have some fun.
And to me, also, I remember when that rumor came out. The reason there was an opening at right back for Barcelona
Uh, I thought
was
that would have
because
been the
was
best
because they
thing
put the desk. They loaned him out
to AC Milan. Yes, I thought that would have been such sweet comeuppance to all the suffering the U.S. has brought to us in the last 2 years.
Uh,
But
I think it
getting
would have been sweet for the Barca fans too,
it,
because Des gets a lot of criticism.
he does, and a lot of it's warranted. If I'm honest, a lot of it's just he hasn't been good.
Um, yeah, no, I don't disagree. I don't disagree. Can we jump back to Brandon Vasquez though?
Yeah, let's get into Brandon Vasquez. What's your opinion on him?
Man, I mean, the guy scores goals. I mean, he scores a lot of goals. He's got a big physical presence. I'm shocked that, like, even for partidos moleros, just the friendlies that are, to make a little bit more money, they haven't called him up. Um, I also wonder if he would take the call if he was called
Mhm.
up. To be honest, I don't think there's any guarantee.
See, but we were just talking about like Pepe in the last year, the last year, 2 years, the Mexico forward squad looked very stacked. You had Carlos Vela, even if he wasn't being called up. You had Chicharito. You had Raúl Jiménez. You had Funes Mori, and then you had the young people were like the people that are in the organization. We're seeing like people like Santi Jiménez, JJ Macías. You're seeing these players that are like
Henry
okay,
Martin.
Henry Martin. You're seeing these players that could take those potential spots. And I think that's one of the reasons Pepe jumped into the U.S. because he's like, I think there's a wider opening for me to become a starting striker here.
That, or I think they also probably sold to him that, like, hey, you'll be on our youth level teams. You have a chance to go to the Olympics where they win medals. They won a bronze in
Mhm.
Tokyo, but I mean they're always competitive.
Yeah, but the thing I was kind of getting to that is now if you look over the U.S., you have P Folk, you have Jesus Ferreira, you have Pepe, you have the Jossie artists, these veterans that kind of can help you out, and that's starting to look stacked. Well, if you look over here at the Mexico side, the one promising striker you kind of have left is Santi Jimenez. JJ Macias kind of fell off a little bit. He hasn't been called up.
Yeah, no,
You
no.
look over and you see Chicharito and Vela aren't getting the calls anymore.
No, I think they're just fully written off at this point.
Exactly. And then you have Funes Mori and Henry Martin. Henry Martin is not a young striker. He's like, I think 30 now, 28, 30 around there.
Sure, yeah. He's
And then you
definitely-
have Funes Mori who hasn't been.
Henry Martin reminds me of like and we'll get into on the roster talk later, but kind of like how Oribe was. A reliable,
I feel
older
that.
veteran striker.
Yeah.
You know what? Speaking of strikers and speaking of dual nationals, I remember for a while there they were kicking the tires on Kate Cowell.
Yeah.
From
They
Earthquakes.
still are.
I think they still are. I mean,
Yep.
he's got wheels, man, and he's so young.
His brother actually got his Mexican citizenship, and so did Cade. Because they're kind of forcing the U.S.'s hand and see if they want to. But I think they will take the call if
Look,
they get it.
what I would tell anybody, and I mean maybe even Jonathan Gonzalez benefited from it too, or something. But like, let's not lose the fact that football is like a crazy passionate addiction for Mexicans all over the world, and also obviously in Mexico. So just the marketing potential is like so much bigger. It's why, let's say Guillermo Ochoa, whatever brands he pushes in Mexico, but like even here in the U.S., he pushes Allstate and Home Depot and all that other stuff because those companies, they know, Mexicans go out and spend money.
Of course. And it's the same thing. They always say that the U.S. is Mexico's second home because there's such a big Mexican contingency here.
Of course.
And
It's America's favorite team.
it literally is.
Literally.
Mexico sell out more stadiums in the U.S. than the U.S. sells out.
Oh, that's not even a question. Mexico
Yeah.
sells out more than even like when Premier League teams come in.
Oh,
so it is America's
yeah,
most
for
popular
sure.
team by ticket sales, by ratings. There's no doubt. So I think marketing wise, if a player really wants to earn a good living, they're gonna earn a good living, regardless if they're an international level player. But I mean,
if you want that little extra dough, it doesn't hurt to be on the Mexican side.
Just imagine if either national team had a bona fide dual national Mexican American player that could, have that marketing attraction here in the U.S.
Yeah,
right?
That
Because like I said,
English
they put
very
Guillermo Ochoa
nice
on the commercials, but like if Pepe became like a bona fide household name, oh man, like they'd be beating down his door to sell
in Spanish too.
Jarrito. Yeah, in both languages, obviously, but they'd be beating down his door.
Yeah, and that's like a huge marketing opportunity. And I think that's something dual nationals here in the future are going to start looking at as well. I think it's going to become a big...
It's got to be taken into consideration.
Yeah, especially if they have smart agents, people that actually do care about their well-being and how much money they can make while they play. And that's something that has to be taken in part of that Mexico maybe does have a little bit more popularity. The Mexican soccer is popular not just in Mexico and the U.S., but all over the world. You see it at World Cups. These people travel. These people live here. There's so much passion for this team and sport that dual nationals have to start taking that into consideration.
Back several years ago, I attended a game in Vancouver, Canada, and there was more Mexicans in that stadium than Canadians.
Exactly, and that's something that dual nationals have to start taking a look at. Marketing opportunities was something that I wasn't even think about, but that's actually a very, very like interesting take.
It's got to be. I mean, I think if I'm the sporting director or whoever of the federation of the national team, I'm shoving that down, not just the player, not just down their throat, but their parents.
Yeah,
100%.
But I also wonder how much is it like how comfortable you are with them, because let's say you are a Mexican American that you know English and Spanish, and you go to the U.S. team, and there's a little bit more diversity. There's a little bit more like dual nationals from every country. You have some Musa. You have that are all from different countries. So you feel a little bit more like a mosh pot, like just a bunch of things.
It's a melting pot for sure.
So I feel like some of these dual nationals do choose the U.S. because it's a little bit more comfortable. They don't feel like they're going to be as criticized that if they like go play for Mexico and it's like all these players that are like actually Mexican, born in Mexico, and like were like raised on that kind of morals and like my tradition.
Well, I remember reading when David Ochoa made his announcement. He made reference to when he was actually part of Chivas Academy. And didn't always feel welcome. So, it goes both ways. It's difficult, but I think the pool of players is awesome. I mean, especially for players that you and I can relate to. Being Mexican American ourselves, first generation, it's awesome. The women's team's been benefiting from that for decades.
And here we have a really rare example, a couple rare examples actually, in Marcelo Flores, who is a dual national, not just
tri-national.
Yeah, he's a tri-national actually from England.
No,
it's Canada, Mexico.
Mexican. He was born in Canada,
and then it's England. I want to say.
I don't know where his. I mean, I think they're eligible for England because of when they moved there or whatever.
Yeah, it's like they're like tri-nationals, and that's one of those rarities where it's no longer just the U.S. and Mexico. Now it's Canada, and I think we're gonna start seeing that more often as we go, because all these Mexican players are starting to have kids that are out in Europe. You're seeing Edson Alvarez; he's gonna have a kid. What if he's born in the Netherlands? And you got Duane. Duane is in the second division of Netherlands, 17-year-old kid, very promising, and he's eligible for the Netherlands and Mexico.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of that.
So,
Loco Abreu's son is eligible for Uruguay and Mexico. There's a lot of that.
So I think we're gonna start getting not just the U.S. Mexico conversation.
The boy who plays for Rosario Central in Argentina, he's I don't think he's gonna be in the Argentine domestic league for very long. I think there's a market for him, and we'll probably see him in I hope he makes a jump to Europe before Mexico, but a really young striker also. So there's a lot of options out
Yeah,
there.
and it's just
It's a globalized game, man. I mean,
yeah, it really
you know,
is.
that's really what it comes down to, and you know, you can't blame Mexico or any national team for, you know, exhausting all resources.
And I think at this time it's the perfect time to start hitting on those like Duans, those Marcelo Flores that are not just Mexican Americans. Start making the Mexico team a little bit more into a melting pot. So in the future, when you start getting dual nationals from England and Mexico, you start getting dual nationals from how you said
Spain.
Spain and Mexico.
I mean, it makes you wonder, like, what, you know, are what are those kids part of the Betis Academy, or you
Exactly.
know?
And it's just like I think it's time to start thinking about like you got to start building your foundation now, even if it's a lot of dual nationals, because at that point when it's time to like recruit around the world, which is what the national team has started to become for every team, I think that's how you create a very like diverse but a very well-rounded squad.
I just want the best players. Let's just
Exactly.
say that. I just want the best players to give us the best chance, you know, a fighting chance, you know,
Yeah,
when it comes to the World Cup.
because it used to be that the only if you were in the Mexico national squad, it was only
Domestic
it was
players.
only domestic players mostly. Maybe you had the Rafa Marquez that was out there,
Yeah, it was
and
one off.
yeah, like one or here the Hugo Sanchez and stuff like that. But now that we're starting to get this, like how you said, melting pot of players all over the world that can like represent multiple countries,
There's a lot of options.
it's starting. You have to start building that foundation now for when it becomes like the true central way to recruit your players.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
But let's be real. That is more of 2026 talk.
It is
Let's
very
get back to
26.
2022. Let's talk about this roster.
I'm very excited for that.
All right. So you want to talk, let's say,
Do you
back
want
to
to?
front, front to back.
I think the easiest way would go from the back and kind of leading up to the strikers, where I think it's the most controversial right now.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think we should start a little bit on the easier side and kind of work up.
Easier, you want to
Yeah.
say? Okay. So your center backs.
So we know goalie first of all. Goalie is that it's Ochoa.
It's Ochoa.
If anybody asked, it's Ochoa. No question, no doubt. They might take Acevedo, which they should probably.
No, I mean
Yeah,
they're gonna take him. I mean, really, the controversy with goalie is
backup.
who's the second and really who's the third.
Yeah, it's like probably like Talavera and Acevedo or something like that, or
Cota's been. I mean, they've
Cota.
been taking Cota. They've been taking like four, or the I think the last call up they didn't call up Acevedo, and they took Cota. So veteran goalies.
Yeah, which
I'm not
it's
worried. I think Dala and Cota are fine, but really they should be giving Acevedo at least the time to be with the team
I think
and
it's
develop, because he is, to me, yeah, the keeper of the future.
for sure. I
for them.
completely agree. And then you have like the dual national David Ochoa, who are saying that might get some looks in the future, but this World Cup it's probably just going to be Ochoa the starter and probably Acevedo and one other goalie, in my opinion.
Okay, okay, yeah, I could go with that. But like, I think we're both in agreement that Acevedo should get a call up.
Yeah.
For the sake of that third goalie. If you're down to your third goalie, you got bigger problems.
Yeah, and you shouldn't even be worrying about your goalie at that point, honestly.
No.
If you're
Okay,
at that, you have to be worrying about the media back home more than anything.
you got to be worried about Yaya.
Oh,
You got to be
dude.
worried about Yasolinas.
When I say media, I'm talking about myself, Tata. I will be relentless. I will fly to wherever you are, even if that's Argentina, and I will talk to you personally.
He's probably in yeah, it's probably
Yeah, he's getting a haircut in Argentina like he always does.
Argentina.
That's Tata's MO.
Okay. So who are your center backs?
My center backs, I'm always a play the kids kind of guy. So I got Johan Vasquez and Cesar Montes.
So no, you know, Johan Vasquez made the trip for this last round of friendlies in the U.S., the despedidas, and he didn't play.
He didn't. And this is like completely biased just on my side. Like I want Johan Vasquez. I think he's a guy in form, and again, how I said, I don't think that that's making the right decision, but I also don't think that he's making a wrong decision.
I mean, that's a position where
They're kind of loaded, honestly, a little bit.
I don't know about loaded, but I do think that he wants security. He wants his security blanket.
Yeah. Right now they have like Nestor Araujo, which is I think he's been playing pretty well. I think he's been really keeping everything really level
I think
headed.
he's been reliable.
Mhm.
I think he took a hard knock in that Colombia game, so we'll see how he is health wise. But I think really his security blanket is Moreno.
Yeah.
See, Moreno played both games, and he is reliable. So it comes down to like who's he going to be paired with, Araujo Montes. I think both of us like Montes, but I don't.
Yeah, I love Montes. I think Montes' height is something that the Mexico squad's been missing for a while.
I mean, Moreno's tall.
Yeah, but Montes just kind of towers. He has that
Yeah.
baby face towering kind of like look to him that's like really intimidating. Have you ever seen like a mean baby that you just don't want to get near? That's kind of what I feel of Montes. Like Montes is just like one of those like dudes that.
So he's the tall version of the baby from Incredibles.
There you go.
Gotcha.
He's the baby
But
face assassin. There we go. New nickname
babyface
for
assassin.
Montes.
But I will say my thing with Montes is, and it actually goes for all Monterrey players. Like they've been in the system, like surrounded by the same players for so long that I don't know. To me, they don't perform all that great on the national team. Now, maybe Montes is the exception, but I have a feeling for the Poland game, at least, it will be Araujo paired with Moreno.
And I can agree with that because Lewandowski, that's going to be scared. He doesn't want to throw a young guy out there. He doesn't want that struggling. So I can see that. But if it's up to me, I'd do the Johan Vasquez Montes pairing because Johan just brings that kind of like speed, agile, and Montes, and then Montes kind of brings that like protector kind of like that back line, like I'm gonna stay and help you out. And I think they just complement each other really well.
Not just that, I mean, Vasquez is on like a near the bottom of the table team in Serie A. He was last year too, so he's constantly under attack.
Exactly.
So he gets plenty of practice.
He knows
when
he
plays is a little bit of a playing time issue right now. But I really like Johan Vasquez. The thing is, I don't think that thinks highly of him enough. He doesn't. I mean, he brought him all the way to the friendlies and didn't play.
And all four of the center backs are European players too right now. They're all playing in Europe.
No, I mean Moreno. No,
Moreno, I think it's in Europe, man.
Moreno. You know what's funny? Actually, Moreno's with Rayados.
Yeah.
And Nestor got brought back.
That's
he's at
true.
America. So I mean, they all have European experience. Well, no,
yeah,
no,
they
no,
do
no.
have European
experience. Not Montes, but he should be.
Yeah, I thought Montes just moved last summer to Europe.
Or
was that just like the big rumor that everybody he was moving?
He was about to go to Dinamo, man. Dinamo Moscow. It's like, no, don't do that.
As long as it's not Houston Dynamo, I'm all good for it.
Yeah.
It's Dinamo Moscow.
You got something against Herrera?
I got everything against Herrera.
Okay, we'll get there in a second. We'll get there. But staying with the back line, really the battles are on the outside backs. Well, I will say this last round of friendlies, Arteaga, to me, he locked down his spot.
He should be locked down. I don't know why Tata keeps having to prove himself over and over. He's the most reliable.
Neck tats. I don't know.
I think it's the year. Tata's like, you're too young for me.
Right? It's like a...
It's his birth year,
I think.
Yeah, that he has tattooed on himself.
Hey, man. Yeah, tattoos, that's your way to express yourself. I don't know. But he looked awesome against Colombia.
Looked great. And that's something that I think Arteaga should have been locked down from the beginning. I think if you kind of put him, I think he should have been out there with like maybe not the Edson Alvarez, but a little bit more like the Funes Mori, let's say, the player that should just like he's gonna be on the squad and he should have something, and that should be penciling him in as a starter unless something happens.
Right.
And I think Arteaga's been one of my favorite players for a long time. He brings that speed to the left back position. That's just really nice to see.
Absolutely. I like him a lot. Tata seems to like Gallardo.
I don't know why. I don't understand the Gallardo love. I really don't.
I will say, I think Gallardo has had a good season at Monterrey, but
he doesn't perform on the national.
That's right.
The system to him, I feel, is he's too slow, and his decision making is not quick enough for him to be part of that agile back line or that quick thinking back line that Mexico likes to play. And I think that's why the other left back should be Julian Alvarez. I think that should be where like it should actually be, the competition be a little bit more, but we all know it's going to be Gallardo.
I could 100% see Gallardo starting.
I can, and it's not smart.
Either the Poland game. I don't know. I'll tell you. I can see him starting all of them. The Colombia first half. Probably the best Mexico we've seen in 4 years. So dynamic.
Longer than that.
Pressing guys. I mean, they literally in the first couple minutes drew a penalty by pressing Luis Diaz.
Yeah.
In as he was trying to clear it out. A Liverpool player.
Yeah.
Drew a penalty.
And
Antuna.
Antuna's another guy, man. That
Okay,
I
okay.
really, yeah, we'll get into that.
First,
Yeah.
let's talk about the other side of the outside backs. I think that one's more of a battle because Jorge Sanchez, he's at Ajax now, but he didn't get to participate in the friendlies because he's hurt. You would have to say just based on the level he's playing at right now, the competition he's playing against, is he penciled in as a starting back?
No, he's not because they have Chaka over there.
No. Chaka's I think Chaka's way out of the picture.
But Tata loves him constantly. That's the issue.
In the friendlies, though, in these last friendlies, Chaka didn't get called up, but Kevin Alvarez got a good amount.
That's, I think, a very interesting name, Kevin Alvarez. I think that's one of those players that's been getting looks from Europe as well, and I think that's somebody that should be starting there. I think it should be a battle between Jorge Sanchez and Kevin Alvarez, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Chaka. I just don't trust Tata to not love his own players. That's the thing.
And then there's still our boy at the Galaxy, Julian. And like we're saying, he's at the level of European.
Julian, they play on my right back. I think he's better suited for a left back position.
Maybe.
That's why when I said it should be Arteaga and Julian Alvarez, Julian Alvarez. I think it's because Julian is a lot better at right back and left back, in my opinion, because he brings he's a better shooter and he can cross back in. And he's decent with his left foot, so he can cross it with his left foot.
All these guys, they're so dynamic, man. And it showed in that Colombia game.
And that's my one thing. I like when Julian crosses in and takes the shot. I've seen it a lot at Galaxy, but I think he's better on his right foot. I think he would be better suited at the left back.
Well, in the last game, Arteaga got a goal, beautiful goal, after Alexis did a dummy and let the ball, and it was perfect. So Arteaga has to start. That's all I could say. And then on the other side, I honestly don't have a preference between Jorge Sanchez and if it's Alvarez, if it's Julian.
I think it should be Jorge.
Yeah. I think he didn't. I mean, he hasn't looked good in Champions League, but somehow Napoli was like, I don't know what the global
Napoli
score was.
became 2008 Barcelona all of a sudden, and they're like, we're going all out.
No, they wrecked Ajax, but yeah, no.
So my choice has always been Jorge Sanchez, and one of my big reasons is because we've seen it time and time again that players that come from the America system become very well. They represent the national team very well. You've seen it with Edson Alvarez. You've seen it with Oribe. You've seen it with Henry Martin. You've seen it with Jorge Sanchez when he's actually played, and he was with America. He was in really good form.
And well, you know what? I think also Jorge Sanchez, one of the last times he played in a U.S.-Mexico game, he locked down.
Pulisic, the most overrated player in the world. They call him Captain America because they have no other captain. That's the only reason why.
They probably, I don't know. They need to give the armband to like Adams or something, but we'll say that for the U.S. show.
We talk Mexico here.
Exactly. So right in front of the backs, I'm thinking there's no question who's playing right in front of them. It's Edson.
Edson is locked down. I think he's the only key guy that's like right there, and that's his spot. I think the only other person there's only one conversation behind him, and that's, I think, Luis Romo. I think Luis Romo takes his backup spot, and that's about it.
Right.
I think it's Edson and then Luis.
Right. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. But so also in the middle, that's another one where it's like veterans that might lean on.
Very interesting spot to look at the midfield. I think there's a lot of low-key competition there.
Well, yeah, I mean, so Guardado, he's got all the experience, super reliable. I don't think he could give you 90 minutes now.
El Principito.
But at the same time, for years now, Eddie Gutierrez should have supplanted him, should have passed him right now. But on the national team, he's done decent, but hasn't really stood out. He's starting to really find his groove at PSV.
So I would probably do a combination of Guti and Herrera. I think that would be my midfielders.
Well, and I would say, and Herrera typically would start, opposite of, you go back to 2018,
Yeah,
he was the starter opposite of Guardado in that midfield.
exactly.
And I don't know. I don't know if his level, what playing in Houston has done to his level. You know, if he had still been Herrera of Atleti,
But
I'd feel more comfortable.
what was it, 9 months? Not even 9 months ago. Like, yeah, 9 months ago, he was playing at Champions League level.
Right? Yeah.
You don't just lose that talent overnight,
I've
especially
seen
when
it
you
happen
have.
to guys when they get to MLS, they get super comfortable.
But the thing is, if you put a midfield of Eric Gutierrez with Edson Alvarez, those are two young guys that will help Herrera and will bring up his level.
I would hope so.
And I think Herrera at that point just has to be the field general, which is something that Mexico has lacked, I feel, because I feel they have two field generals at all times.
They absolutely like
They had Guardado and Herrera, and I think both of them like intersected too much, and they played really well together, but neither of them really knew who to defer to at times. And I think that was the biggest issue with that midfield. But when you have that one leader like Herrera or Guardado starting with two young guys, you know who the leader of that midfielder is, and you know who you're going to defer to in case of anything.
So if it's not Herrera, it's probably Charlie Rodriguez.
Charlie Rodriguez is another guy that I think is better suited as a backup role because of his speed and his energy. I think he's a guy that should.
We need that energy. We need that energy. If you look back to 2018, the most famous goal, El Chucky Lozano, the play started when Herrera stole the ball just past midfield.
But my thing with that is, I think they need a little bit more stability in the midfield.
We need guys that can recover. We need guys that can recover. I think Charlie Rodriguez has that motor. That's my biggest concern with Herrera. Does he have the motor for 90 minutes?
I think leadership is a lot more important for me than I think I just want that stability. I want somebody that these young guys, Edson's playing in his second World Cup, right? And Guti would be playing in his second. I want to say he went to the last one as well in 2018.
I think he was on the roster,
but on the bench, but like he was there. So Herrera's been in what, 3-4 World Cups now?
I think 2014 was his first.
2014, 2018, and there's gonna be his third one, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I want to say that experience really helps out. Herrera has been a staple.
Herrera
of
has
this
a gold
team.
medal.
Exactly, he's been a staple of this team, and you need that leadership. Somebody that's been there, done this. Somebody that's been in champions like at the highest level. I know Edson has been really high level with Ajax, but Ajax is not the level of Atletico Madrid. So I think that having Herrera there.
Still, when Herrera stood out the last World Cup, he was at Porto.
He was at Porto, but but he's been at like almost the highest peaks of all football, club football. And that leadership is very important, especially when you have two young guys and somebody like Edson who runs hot. They call him El Machine for a reason. He's a player that plays with passion and plays with so much energy that can get you in problems at times. And I think that's why you need that leadership there, like Herrera. Somebody that I think when you look at Herrera, you kind of see Edson when he was. You see Edson when they were both younger. You know what I mean? Herrera ran really hard as well. He was a very passionate player, and now he's kind of calmed down now that he's older. So you have that connection with the younger players that you can tell them, hey, you calm down and we're going to get this going. That's why I think Charlie is better suited as a sub, somebody that can come in and bring that energy.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll take the energy. Yeah, because I don't see him bringing any sort of leadership qualities that we know of. I don't know. Obviously, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes.
And I love Charlie. I think Charlie is like one of those players that's gonna just take one of those roles and run with it. But I think for this World Cup, you need a little bit more leadership, and you need to bring a little bit of that experience into a very unexperienced roster in some of these positions. You need somebody the squad can look to and defer to, especially if you don't want to bring the Chicharitos and Velas, who've been here for so long.
Yes. A little closer to the forward position, but let's talk about those wingers. Chucky, man, like
Chucky should be locked in.
He should be locked in. I don't know who would back him up. Maybe
Antuna's been. He's so speedy,
dude. I'm telling you, when he puts on El Tri uniform, he puts on his Superman cape.
And then when he's in his club, it's just not the best.
No.
And we've seen it like throughout his career that he thrives with Mexico, but like in his club, he just can't really seem to put it together.
Something about I don't know if it's a motivation thing, because when Cruz Azul played Chivas, I'm like, yeah, of course Antuna's gonna score against Chivas. He wouldn't do that when he was on Chivas.
Yeah,
that's another story. But I think Antuna will get a spot on the roster. Probably not start. Or maybe come in and relieve Chucky.
Yeah.
Or on the other side, right? So it would have been Tecatito. Tecatito, I mean, they're saying
That he might be ready.
that he might be ready, might not. But to me, I'm like, well, he's gonna be healthy, but he's not gonna be at that level.
He's not gonna be in form. He's
not
gonna be
gonna
rusty.
be in form. But we're lucky because we have a gym that's right behind him, and it's Alexis Vega.
Alexis Vega has been a revelation since the Catito's been out. I think we had really high hopes for him for a long time.
Yeah.
He's been one of those players that people look at and he's like, this is the guy we want to like continue to fight for that spot. And he just kind of never put it together until he got the opportunity. And I think he's been, if not the best, one of the best players for Mexico these round of friendlies at least.
Yeah, he looked really good. And so I feel pretty good about it. And let's not forget that, I mean, the Golden Boys right behind them is Linus. In reality, there's no reason why Linus can't start even at one of those spots either, because he is dangerous when he gets out there. Even in these friendlies, I saw him, splitting Colombian defenders, like really just like coming in and like.
And another America player that
instant spark plug.
That another player that came from that academy that immediately adapts into the system of whatever Mexico's trying to do. And you were talking about Monterrey, that Monterrey doesn't develop those players to be El3 players. But America feels like they do.
I mean, like I said, America is one of those teams that like they have some, same with the Monterrey teams. I'm talking about Monterrey and Tigres, that they're a destination team. They bring players from outside. So any player that comes out of the academy is they're gonna be having gone through the gauntlet already and be very talented. So I think that's the case with those guys.
Yeah.
But yes, Linus, I mean, we can't leave him out, obviously.
And then I think a dark horse is Roberto Alvarado.
Yeah, Piojo.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's another guy that brings a lot of speed into those wings and somebody that you should really, that Tata should be looking. I think he brings a lot of pace. If on those wings, you're going to have so much pace that it's going to be almost impossible to like keep up. Especially with a Poland team that's not known for their pace.
And those are the guys that we need to show that high pressure like they did against Colombia.
Or even Germany in 2018. That's how they won that game. It was high pressure, speed, and attacking.
Right.
It was a lot of counterattacks, and that's how they won that game because they were faster than that German team. And now now they need to kind of rely on that speed to attack because I don't think their forwards are going to get it done in the World Cup.
So speaking of forwards, they already said there's about 4 names for 3 spots. Okay, I know you like talking about Vela. He's out.
He's completely out. No chance.
People, were clamoring for Chicharito. He's still, I think, out of all Mexican strikers, has the most goals in any league in the last 2-3 years. So, El Tri's all-time leading goal scorer, probably not. He's not going to Qatar, actually, because
he's not.
The initial 55-man roster that they submitted to FIFA didn't have his name on it already.
Yeah, they said no.
Yeah, so there's 4 names, right? So there's Jimenez, Raúl Jimenez. There's Funes Mori.
Deep breath. I'm such a Funes Mori hater, and it's not even funny.
El Mellizo, right? Henry Martin and Santi Jimenez. Somebody is not getting on that plane.
I think there should be one guarantee, and I think it's the one name that's going to be left out.
Who's that?
I think that's Santi Jimenez.
Santi's going to get left out?
I think Santi's going to be left out. Tata's not a big believer in youth. What I've noticed, he loves it in friendlies, but big competitions, he relies on his veterans.
Yeah. Like I said, he likes his security blankets.
Exactly, because he knows that he's on the hot seat. So he's like, I'm going to go with what I know instead.
At this point,
he's on the hot seat with the media. Let's not say with the National Federation.
I was going to say,
yeah, I think the National Federation has too much patience.
And at this point, it's too late.
Yeah.
He's like, they're taking me to Qatar. I tried to resign before. They wouldn't accept my resignation. Yeah. At least that's what the rumor was. But yeah, I don't think he's coaching anymore for his job. He's coaching for legacy, maybe. But
I think he's coaching for money.
So you think Santi's gonna get left out?
I think.
Well, I will say, I mean, right now, Raúl Jimenez isn't at Wolves. He's training back at the Centro de Alto Rendimiento and wherever that is, Toluca or something. But anyways, he's training it's exclusive with the Federation in Mexico just to get healthy again.
Yep.
From his injury. I don't know if I like that. I mean, we need a guy in form.
I see, but the thing is, we go back to the security blanket. You've heard Tata say before. He wants players that have European experience. He wants players that don't play on quote unquote lower leagues. Um, and he qualifies a lot of North American and South American leagues. That's lower leagues at times, and he changes a lot depending on the player. And Raúl Jimenez is a player that's proven to be very good at the top league in the world. He's proven to be one of the maybe top
Yes.
15 strikers. We can really call top 10 strikers at a point in his career.
At a point in his career, he was
So-
probably amongst the 3 best strikers in the Premier League.
Exactly.
And then David Luiz almost
Bashed him.
Yeah, he fractured his skull.
David Luiz, man.
Yeah,
That's not a big fan.
Sideshow Bob.
It was Sideshow Bob. This dude said Sideshow Bob.
I mean, he kind of
The Brazilian Sideshow Bob.
His hair reminded me. But anyways, I mean, man, yeah, that if I could have bottled up any player, Mexican player of the last however long, and just preserved him forever,
Yeah.
it would have been
Raúl Jimenez.
that level that Raúl Jimenez was playing at that.
Especially
point.
at Wolves, that was like in form. They were like one of the
Yeah,
better
Wolves.
teams.
They were like probably
A
top 4, 5, 6 at the time.
Yeah.
They were on pace for Champions League.
So
It's
that's the
sad.
biggest thing. But I think he will go to the World Cup just because of what he's proven, what he can do. And coaches always think they can fix players. I think coaches in any sport, in any
It's
league,
funny that you say that because I almost feel like that's maybe the thought process behind Funes Mori. Continuing to get call-ups even when he's not really doing
the thing with Funes Mori, I really do think that it's the Argentinian connection.
What?
I think so.
I mean, it could be, but I'd like to think Tata was smarter than that.
Have you met
He's not
Tata?
gonna-
I haven't met Tata.
I
For the
literally-
record, but he doesn't look that smart when I see what he does.
The guy's brilliant. Don't give me. The guy's brilliant.
He's a brilliant club level, I think, coach. I don't think national teams when he has like very like strict resources compared to the club.
No. Well, he started that resurgence of that Chile team, who won multiple Copa Americas.
He did, but also that Chilean Federation had been building up that team for years. They'd been laying the foundation for years. So that's my biggest thing with that too. Alexis Sanchez was becoming a star before he even showed up.
Vidal.
Exactly, and him too. He was already like older by the time that showed
But
up.
still, I mean,
I think he put it together, but I think he's not a one
But
of
then
those.
and then other coaches kept it going.
Yeah, I just don't think he's the guy that's. I think
You don't
he
think
got
he's the
confused.
architect of that?
Exactly. I think he got confused from being the architect. I think people think he was the architect instead of realizing that he was one of the how do I say this? One of the people that steer the ship.
Yeah.
One of the better captains of the ship.
Yeah.
But he was not the one that built it. And I think that goes a lot for Atlanta United too when he was on Atlanta United. I think people give him more credit than he deserves on that.
What are you talking about? He took like a expansion team and made him.
Yeah, but I think again he's a great captain. I think he's one of those coaches that can steer when given the right pieces. He can steer anything the right direction. He didn't. Why wasn't he successful at Barcelona? Because they gave him the task.
How come the coaches that followed him at Atlanta United couldn't keep up? That team that was already
Because he's a great captain. He's a captain that when he has the resources, he'll make it work great. When he has what he needs, and I think things just kind of fit perfectly at Chile, and I think things fit perfectly at Atlanta, where he was able to steer that ship.
because he was
right.
he was given a hell of a roster at Barca,
and he didn't do great.
That team didn't win,
And that's my
La
thing.
Liga.
I think he's not an architect. I don't think he got tasked with rebuilding Barca a little bit because Barca was already kind of like dipping in form, and he got, hey, we need you to help us rebuild this team to what we need it to be to its glory days. He wasn't able to, and again, I think it goes back to him being a great captain. I think he's a great coach when he has the right resources, when he has the support that he wants, and he's able to get the players he wants.
Hey, mark that. Yeah, he said he's a great coach.
He is a great coach. But I think he's a horrible decision maker. Coaching is very different. You can be great with X's and O's.
Hindsight is 2020.
And that's why hindsight's 2020, and I can look back at his career and kind of point out the good teams that he had weren't teams that he built fully by himself. And that when he did have the chance to build teams fully by himself, he wasn't able to do it correctly.
Yeah. Well, at this point, it doesn't matter. Tata's going to Qatar.
So is Funes Mori.
So is Funes Mori.
Raul Jimenez probably. And I think Henry Martin. I think Santi Jimenez gets left out. I don't think there's anything he can do at this point, honestly. I think there's
right. He was leading the Europa League in goals.
Exactly. And I think it has nothing to do with Santi. I think it has everything to do with how comfortable Tata feels with the roster.
And that's it. He likes his security blankets.
And that's the one thing like that we're not going to be able to change.
Yeah.
And I think we got to get ready to see Funes Mori miss from the box for like 5 times a game. So I think they're going to create chances, and I think he's just not going to be able to finish, honestly.
I could honestly see Henry Martin getting more playing time than Funes Mori.
I can see Raul Jimenez. I think Raul Jimenez is going to be a starter if he's healthy.
I think he will. Yeah, I think he's penciled in as a starter.
I just want him
Fingers
to bring
crossed
out.
he's healthy.
I really just want him to bring out the
mask,
the eye patch,
the
and the
patch.
hook, and just like
it's
just get it
his little.
But I wanted to like transition it to him.
It's already on. Yeah. I think
transition and just bring the hug.
Yes. Let's not forget. So, just for the sake of the eye patch, we want to see
Raul Jimenez
score and play,
and for my health, because I will be screaming if he scores.
Absolutely. So, getting into the World Cup, man, it's got me excited. You know what really got me excited? All this heat, man. That
beaut that
Adidas
you have on?
is dropping. Oh my gosh, man! They took my whole paycheck, man. Like I'm a sucker, man. I got the green jersey, I got this one, I got T-shirts, I got my kids. I got my kids' uniforms, man. Like,
I was looking for that one, so I actually got the green one because I wasn't able to find that one. I wasn't quick enough. I'm waiting for the restock so I can actually get it.
Gotta be quick with the trigger, man.
I wasn't because I'm like, I saw it and I'm like, I love this? And it took me like 2 seconds. I do love it. By the time I went to the website, it's like sold out. I was like,
boom,
damn it! Like,
and that was a lot of people. That was a lot of people on the Adidas website when stuff dropped.
And the thing is, not just Mexico fans bought that. World Cup fans bought that.
Absolutely.
Kit because that kit is beautiful, man. You see it on these like really good looking Mexican players, and you're like, wow, like when did Mexicans become supermodels all of a sudden? Like, no wonder like they've been struggling. Like,
man.
They're all focused on their modeling careers. Like, even Tata looked decent when I saw him wear it. I was like, wow, man.
Hey, man, you look good, you feel good, and you play good.
I don't know if you play good, but you'll definitely look good. Even if you lose, you'll lose looking good.
You know what? And my one of my first reactions was like, please have a decent World Cup. Like, I don't want to affiliate fire uniforms with a not great result.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, these are gonna be ranked very highly in like the next 10 to 15 years as one of the better World Cup kits, maybe like the top 10 in World Cup kits in like the history. Maybe it's gonna become a classic. I think it's already an instant classic. I know a lot of friends that are like American and like the U.S. team immediately send me the kit in the morning. It was 7 o'clock. I had 5 messages, 3 Twitter notifications. Yeah. It's like, how do you like this kit? It's a really nice kit. I'm like, it's a gorgeous kit. It's like, I wish the U.S. had something like this. Oh, I'm like, I don't, dude. The U.S. one sucks.
They don't like the Ross dress for less look?
Dude, they got training kits, man. They got training kits as their World Cup kits.
Holy cow, man. Yeah, and I think that's another thing that props up the Mexico uniforms.
And then Canada not even getting any World Cup kit.
Yeah, I know. They're like, oh, you guys are in an off-year cycle. Keep your qualifying jerseys.
The rumor is that there's 2 rumors that I've heard about Canada. One is that they didn't think they were going to qualify, so they didn't put in Nike. They didn't give Nike the request for a new uniform for the World Cup. The second rumor I heard was that Nike refused to make them a new World Cup kit because Canada was talking to Adidas about maybe switching.
Well, regardless, I mean, it
doesn't matter because Mexico still beat them.
It's a poor move on their part. Like, they could have sold more jerseys. I mean, because like I said, the Mexico fans almost crashed the Adidas site.
Yeah, and again, they took out that nice kit, and then you got like the nice classic green one. That's also gorgeous. It's like, it looks nice. Then Adidas turns around, and he's like, "Boom! Here's 4 new shoes, all Mexico themed.
Take these sweatshirts."
It's
take this casual wear.
And then I don't know if you guys saw Adidas dropped a hat that has a mask in front of it, a Mexican wrestling mask. So if you put it on backwards, it becomes a wrestling mask.
Oh my goodness!
I'm like, this is marketing genius. Like, how does nobody like interact with their fan base as much as Adidas does with Mexico? Then on TikTok, to promote these new shirts, Adidas went and hired a a guy that makes football out of just worn out leather and stuff like that and different materials. They tasked him to make 3 Mexico World Cup balls, unique. So he went to Mexico City and he got different materials, shirts, leathers from things from Mexico City and created this beautiful World Cup ball. And he did the same thing in Los Angeles and he did the same thing in Jalisco. And all 3 were auctioned off with one of those shirts.
Pretty smart.
And it's like, that's marketing genius. They're giving the Mexico fan exactly what they want. They're giving them the passion. That shirt, when I look at it, I'm like, Aztec warriors.
100%.
Like Mayan
100%.
ancestry, like
Okay.
real Mexican.
So
like,
did you
that's
see
the
this
core-
and did you immediately think of the 98 kit?
No, actually, I immediately I thought this kind of goes into like the badge, that it's a new badge. It's like this represents a new era. Like I think it's a really cool way to like bring in a new crop of players that we're kind of seeing, like a new talented and kind of where the world is moving into a like sleeker, kind of cooler, like very simplistic kind of world. You know what I mean? Like very minimalist. Everything's very
The
minimalist.
badge is very minimalist.
It is, but they did a great job of not making the kit minimalist.
Okay.
They made the kit very expressive, very beautiful, very to the core of what Mexico is. And I love that so much about it. And it didn't remind me of the 98 kit because a lot of people immediately went on because of the Aztec and whatever.
Sure.
But it just gave its own vibe off. And seeing it on you just makes me like even more proud to be Mexican. And like, I'm like, this is just such a beautiful kit that represents our culture in a way that I don't think any other kit in the world represents its culture.
No, not that I can think of. I mean, there's some decent ones. Brazil has a nice one with like some kind of leopard.
Yeah, on the pads.
Watermark, and then oh my gosh, the Puma ones are terrible.
Puma,
they got like this weird like frame. They try to frame the front number.
I love
but
that
like horribly.
Puma tried to go 2002 at Nike where they just had like the number
Nike had the total
and the circle. Yeah, and
Puma's
like, we're gonna do it better than you watch, and then everybody just clowned them, like absolutely.
Like
clowned
we're gonna
them.
smoke all this crack, and then we're gonna. Yeah, no. So sorry, Puma teams.
No, dude, and like Adidas just absolutely killed it, and I think. And then also they did this whole marketing campaign where they went like on TikTok, YouTube, and found like really popular American and Mexican YouTubers and social media personalities.
Yeah.
They took a full bus, like a literal, and they opened the back of it, and smoke came out, and inside you had the Mexican, the Mayan dragon. The Aztec dragon.
Ooh.
So you right in front of it, smoke was coming out of the Aztec dragon. They had this beautiful Mayan structure that was a box. You opened it, and they gave these social media influencers and YouTubers and TikTokers a World Cup kit just for them with a scarf and everything. And it was like, wow, that's really smart. Way to promote the team.
Oh, they know.
Way to promote the kit.
No, they know what they're doing.
Nobody else did that. Nobody else dedicated that much time and resources to the country.
I think our invite must got lost in the mail.
I
follow
got
Talking L3 at Talking L3 on Instagram.
I'm talking to you, Adidas.
No, they've marketed the hell out of it.
They did a great job of that, and I really do appreciate that.
Even the knockoff plug is probably, they're flooded with requests too. So
yeah, and again, but it's like Adidas did a great job of capturing the Mexican culture in a shirt. They did a great job of just kind of bringing it all together.
I even ordered the training kit or the pre-match warm-up.
At first, when I saw the shorts,
I'm like, man,
you know how like the shorts are green with that kit.
It's literally that meme, like, shut up and take my money.
Yeah, literally, like when they dropped the shorts with the kit, like I was like, green shorts. I kind of would have liked to like matching all the way down.
No,
and then I saw them on, and I was like, oh, okay, that looks really good.
Yeah,
I kind of want those green shorts now.
Yeah, and you know what? And I don't want to leave out the fact that Mexico does have a history with the color burgundy.
Yes,
their original uniforms all the way up to like I think the 1960 World Cup or something like that were burgundy.
Mm-hmm. They were not full red.
They weren't. Well, they weren't green. They didn't even have green jerseys. Their main uniform was burgundy.
Yeah.
So.
And it wasn't even like actually it's burgundy, not red, because we've seen the red. Yeah, it's vino tinto. Like that's what it's called in Spanish. But it's again, I like how the Aztec. It looks like stitching. Like it's handmade. Really It's just such a good kit.
It's really good.
And then the green one, like I wish I would have brought it so we could have had both on set. The green
I
one
wore
just,
it the first episode.
yeah,
We're good.
go look at the first episode and you'll see the kit. The green one also just has like that texture on it, like where you touch it and you can feel the bumps of each different layer, and it's just such a beautiful kit. I think I did. I'm more of a Nike guy for the most part, but I think Adidas did a great job on this kit and promoting it, which it might have flipped me into an Adidas guy.
No, they did good. They look good, and I hope that translates to the field.
Well, we'll see. You think it's time for some questions?
Unas preguntas del cantarito.
You want me to go first? Or do you want to go first? I'll go first
Yeah,
because you
you
thought
go
about it too long, so it means that you're
Just
a
go.
little.
Just go. Just go.
First question. You get $2,000, but you have to go on the streets of Mexico City carrying around a poster that says "El Tri sucks, USA is better" for 2 hours. Where do you do it?
For
$2,000, $2,000.
You know what's funny? Yes, I'll do it because a lot of people will probably agree. In Mexico, I mean, you see the games at Estadio Azteca, like it's so toxic. Like they get booed. It's rough.
Wow,
And so, oh man,
I've heard horror stories in Mexico City, so I
yes,
probably wouldn't do it.
they're very critical of the team there. So a lot of people will be like, "Yeah, no, you're right," and
Yeah.
I'll be like, "Oh," I won't even have to tell them like I'm doing it for $2,000.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't do it, honestly.
I mean, I love the team enough that I wouldn't, but yeah,
All you
I'll
need
take
is
the money.
one crazy guy to come up to you.
Oh yeah,
That's what's like. All you need is one crazy guy being mad for you to not
He'd
be
be
worth
like,
it anymore.
Chale, hijo, ¿qué estás haciendo? ¿Qué es eso? I'll be like,
I'm sorry.
With his Chilango accent, right? You know, so yeah, it'll be. Oh, okay. This is it. If you could pick one iconic Mexico game from the past to go see, which would you choose?
I want to say it's the 2011 or 12 World, 2011, 2012 Gold Cup U.S. Mexico final, where Mexico was down 2-0 and they came roaring back and to win
2011.
2011. I can't remember the exact year. It was one of those two, but I remember that game. I loved seeing Tim Howard gravel on the floor. I loved seeing Gio.
He can't get the Gio.
I loved seeing Gio just like put on that magic that we all thought and knew he had. And then just like right in the perfect corner where the defender jumps, he falls down, he sees the ball behind him, and you just see him slam his head, and he's like, there's nothing I can do.
Like, he put it. Where did he put it, Yahir?
He lo puso donde las arañas hacen su nido.
Right in the corner.
Donde las arañas hacen su nido.
Right in the corner with a spider.
El Perro Bermúdez, man, classic. Here.
What you got? What's the next one?
Let's see. You get to meet Chucky Lozano after a game, but for every minute you talk to him, you gotta suck his toes for the same amount of time. How long are you talking?
0 seconds. I can't do feet, bro.
I'm already
just lost a subscriber for that. I know, but
this is kind of unfair because I'll probably be just like kissing his feet. Well, I'm already there, so there's not gonna be any talking. So it's probably just like I'll just probably be like, Chucky.
We're talking bare feet. Oh man, I can't do it. Sorry, Chucky. I guess I'm not meeting you.
Guess I'm not meeting you.
Okay. Let's see. Picture this. Mexico wins the World Cup, but you're not allowed to watch a single minute of any game or highlight from the entire tournament. Would you take it?
I take it in a heartbeat. I've been on record saying this before. Somebody asked me, how far are you willing to go for a Mexico World Cup? I told them I'd give up my job. I'd give up anything that's valuable to me. And they said, oh, so you'll give up something you can live without, things that you already can live without. And I'm like, okay, I'll raise the level. I'll chop off a limb. If Mexico won a World Cup, I'm willing to chop off a limb for a Mexico World Cup win.
So not watching this, but think of those memories. Like that's part of the whole experience is the memories.
My memories are going to be
with your family.
Exactly, my memories
friends.
are going to be held. Me out in El DF around El Angel, screaming Mexico and just crying. Even think about it, man. I get emotional. If Mexico ever won a World Cup, I'm gonna cry till I can't no more. I've said this before. If Mexico wins the World Cup, my life is over. I'm sorry, children. I'm sorry, wife. I'm done. There's no need for me to live anymore. My life is complete.
Your life is complete.
It's a century of suffering that people have endured, and I'm lucky enough to see one World Cup win for Mexico.
But you don't get to see it.
Yes,
That's the
but
whole thing.
I get to be around the people that celebrate. And the beauty about Mexico is the community that it brings together, not just the
you know
game.
that'll be a good celebration.
Exactly. So like me celebrating and crying with everybody else.
It'll be like a group of
And then also
concert every day.
Yeah, and also I'd also be like a mourner, you know, like I'd be like El Santo Yaya, El Santo Yaya. Because they won because of me. You're welcome, guys. Like I sacrificed myself for a World Cup when you're welcome. Like put me up in the church walls, man. Like I'm ready for this.
San Yahir.
San Yahir.
Yeah, well, okay.
I'm willing to do it. Like that's how far I would go for this team.
Thank you, Yahir. Thank you for your sacrifice.
Last one for me. Picture this. Mexico reaches the World Cup final, but Alexi Lalas is coaching. What do you take it?
Who's he coaching? Mexico?
I'm guessing Mexico. I don't care. Give me the World Cup final, man.
He's not gonna win. He hates Mexico. He's not gonna win. He would totally throw that game. Even if you're like, well, Alexi, you could be the coach of the champion. He's like, I don't care. It's Mexico. I'm starting Funes Mori. See,
the thing about this question is worded wrong because the players don't have to listen to him. The players are in the final.
They already don't listen sometimes.
Exactly. They're there like, we're winning. I don't care what you say, Alexi. Like, we're not throwing our whole life for your petty rivalry.
Yeah.
And although Alexis Lalas does talk a lot bad about Mexico at times, you can tell he has a lot of respect for Mexico. So I will give him that.
Yeah, absolutely. They whooped him so many times.
Yeah, and he always, like, if he ranks his CONCACAF players, it's always almost like 3 Mexico players at the very top, and then like Keylor Navas right after that.
Like, game recognizes game.
So
whatever,
I think I'd be okay with it. World Cup final, World Cup win. It's a dream come true.
Final, man. That's
like
yeah. No, I'll take
in a heartbeat.
Throw Alexi in there. It's fine.
I don't trust Mexico players to listen to him anyways. They probably won't even understand English. It's all good.
This question is perfect for Yahir over here. Let's see which ego of Yahir are we gonna get here. Tata coaches Mexico for the rest of time, and in order to stop it, you have to lose an appendage. Which one do you choose?
Any appendage? Anything?
To avoid having Tata coach the rest of the time. They're like,
probably my left hand. Immediately, I would just give up my left hand. As long as I don't break my right hand, because that would really suck, because then I would have no hands. But I think I'd give up my left arm if that was the case.
So anything to keep Tata from coaching El Tri beyond this World Cup.
The love for the Mexico national team has no bounds. It goes
clearly,
I have like, people think I'm joking when I say this, but if it was really the option, like, hey man, like, you'll never be able to watch a World Cup game again, like, but Mexico wins 2 World Cups or World Cup, I'm like, fine, where do I sign up? What's the deal with the devil immediately? Or they're like, hey man, we'll chop off your left pinky, but Mexico wins 2 World Cups, and you can see at least the final. Where do I sign up?
Your boy loves El Tricolor. What could we say?
I think people don't realize how much hopes and dreams fall into this squad and into this badge. And it's not just my hopes and dreams, not just your hopes and dreams. It's centuries of hopes and dreams, man. Sure. It's like, this is a generational thing, because Mexico is such a powerful country, and it's a powerful country in how people unite. And nothing unites the Mexico people more than either loving El Tri or hating El Tri because they were bad. So that love being immortalized in a trophy and having that name and having the World Cup there for the world to see, I think it's the most beautiful thing you can get.
Yeah. So long as Tata's not coaching.
Dude, if Tata wins the World Cup, man, I'll do whatever anybody wants. You want me to drink a shot of hot sauce?
No. If Tata wins the World Cup, then they're going to keep him.
Yeah, if he won the World Cup, do whatever you want. At that point, like I said, my life is over. Like, there's nothing for me. Like, there's nothing left for me to accomplish. Well, see, Ireland? Sorry, Ireland. There's Mexico in the World Cup. I don't care anymore. Like,
there you go.
I mean this sincerely. My life would probably, like, be
it's fulfilled.
In shambles.
Your life is fulfilled.
Would be an absolute. It's not the smartest thing to put your life, dreams, and hopes in something you have no control over, but I do it regardless.
Yeah, he just calling to apologize to his wife right after this.
She knows, and she could not believe I said those things, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but they're completely true. My wedding vows mean a lot to me, but not as much as the 3.
We're not editing that out anyway.
Oh, I'll send it to her. I'll edit it out and send it to her.
Okay. Right on. All right, Yahir. Well, it's another good episode. Encourage everybody to like, subscribe, follow on all the podcast platforms.
Also, if you do listen and you've liked what we've done so far, give us a 5-star review wherever you listen, whether that be Apple or Spotify. It really helps out get the word out to all the
All
people
the
out there.
platforms.
Yeah.
All the platforms. I think I
Also,
subscribe
recommend
to
us to a friend. Recommend us to a friend. Let us know you recommended us, and we might give you a shout out next time on the pod or
Absolutely.
on the show.
Absolutely. Feel free to shoot us some comments.
Mhm.
And I mentioned earlier at Talking El Tri on Instagram.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see some of those comments. We want some of that interaction. So 100%.
Sure.
Thank you,
And
Yahir.
yeah, thank you, Luis. I had a lot of fun. Thanks for putting up with my crazy tata rants every 2 minutes.
I need that. I need gasolina.
You need the negative to bring out the positive sometimes.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. So, a todos, adiós.
Y ya saben, échenle ganas porque México al 100.
Adiós.